The year is 476 AD. The greatest empire the world has ever known has just crumbled into dust. Rome has fallen. But what came next wasn't just chaos, it was the violent, chaotic birth of a new world. For centuries, Rome was the center of the world. Its legions, its laws, and its language stretched across continents. Then, in a single lifetime, it was gone. The last remaining emperor in the West, a young boy ironically named Romulus Augustulus, was deposed. The imperial banners were packed up and sent to Constantinople. The city of Rome itself, once home to over 1 million people, saw its population plummet to just tens of thousands. The aqueducts that carried water into the city were cut. The Great Colosseum, once a stage for grand spectacles, became a makeshift fortress, then a quarry for stone. Across Europe, the Roman roads, the arteries of the empire, fell into disrepair. Trade routes collapsed. A journey that took weeks under Roman rule now took months, if it was possible at all. Europe plunged into what many call the Dark Ages. But was it really so dark? Or was something new, something powerful beginning to grow in the ruins? If you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe for more hidden history. The truth is, the fall of Rome wasn't a single event. It was a slow, messy divorce. The so-called barbarians who carved up the empire weren't just mindless destroyers. Many of them, like the Goths and the Franks, had served in the Roman army for generations. They admired Roman culture. They didn't want to burn Rome to the ground. They wanted to become the new Romans. Take Theodoric the Great, a Goth who became king of Italy. He ruled from Ravenna, not Rome, but he worked hard to preserve Roman laws, Roman architecture, and Roman administration. He even repaired public buildings and aqueducts. He saw himself as a protector of Roman civilization, not its destroyer. In Gaul, the Franks under their leader Clovis were also building a new kingdom. Clovis realized that to rule a land of Romans, he needed their support. So, in a brilliant political move, he converted to Catholic Christianity, the religion of his Gallo-Roman subjects. This single act united the Franks and the Romans, laying the foundation for what would eventually become the nation of France. This was the pattern all over Europe. New kingdoms emerged from the rubble, a hybrid of barbarian military power and Roman administrative skill. The Vandals in North Africa, the Visigoths in Spain, the Anglo-Saxons in Britain. Each one was a unique experiment blending old and new. While the centralized power of the emperor was gone, power didn't just vanish. It became localized. Local lords, bishops, and warlords stepped into the vacuum. They built castles not for grand displays of wealth but for survival. This was the birth of feudalism, a system that would define Europe for the next 1,000 years. Life became smaller, more local, and more dangerous. Yet, amidst the chaos, the light of Roman civilization never truly went out. It was preserved in the most unlikely of places, monasteries. While the world outside was in turmoil, monks in remote communities across Europe were diligently copying ancient texts. They saved the works of Virgil, Cicero, and countless other Roman thinkers from being lost forever. They weren't just preserving religion. They were preserving knowledge itself. These isolated monasteries became the intellectual powerhouses of the early Middle Ages, little islands of learning in a sea of ignorance. It was here, in these quiet scriptoriums, that the seeds of the Renaissance were sown, centuries before it would bloom. The economy also transformed. The massive, slave-based estates of the Roman era gave way to a system of serfdom. It was a harsh life, tied to the land and the will of a local lord. But it was also a system of mutual obligation that provided a measure of stability in an unstable world. Art changed too. The classical realism of Rome was replaced by the vibrant, symbolic art of the new barbarian kingdoms. Think of the intricate gold and garnet jewelry found in the Sutton Hoo ship burial in England, or the beautiful illuminated manuscripts like the Book of Kells in Ireland. It wasn't Roman art, but it was stunning in its own right, a new visual language for a new Europe. So the fall of Rome was not an end, it was a transformation. It was messy, violent, and often brutal. But it was also a period of incredible resilience and creativity. From the ashes of one empire, a dozen new civilizations began to rise. The languages we speak, the laws we follow, the very borders of modern European nations were all forged in the fires of this tumultuous era. The Dark Ages were not so dark after all. They were the crucible in which modern Europe was made. The ghosts of Rome never left. They simply learned to speak new languages and rule under new banners. Subscribe to uncover more stories history tried to hide.